doobie doobie doo. Today I want to talk with you about one of my favorite topics, the F word, failure. And I don't say it's one of my favorite topics because I love failing, but because I think the more we talk about it, certainly the more I talk about it, the more failure inhibits my life less. So failure is something that I think gets in the way of a lot of us creating, putting things out there, being vulnerable, being our authentic selves. I decided to explore this in depth last year, 2016. I did what I called a year of failure. And I wrote an article about it. I'll link it down below. And essentially, I set a goal for myself to fail 100 times in that year. What I noticed about myself is that I only like to do things when I know I'm good at them, when I have some assurance that I'm not going to fail. And if I feel like I am going to fail, I have this tendency to hold myself back so that I always have that excuse of, well, I failed, but I wasn't really trying my hardest. And not that I would ever say that to anybody, but it was something I would keep to myself. So my experiment was, if I set a goal to fail and didn't try to fail, but let failure be a different metric, instead of it meaning this is how many times you are a failure, letting it mean something else. And what I found over that time, I did make it to past 100 failures over the year. They ranged from applying to different conferences, applying with pieces of writing to different publications, reaching out to different publications or different news channels when I was doing my Kickstarter campaign, all sorts of things. It was a perfect year for testing failure because I was really putting myself out there in new ways. And what I found was that my relationship with failure did start to shift over time, that it became less that gut-wrenching, heart-dropping feeling of, oh, I'm horrible, I'm worthless, I should stop now. Everybody thinks X, Y, and Z of me, which they don't, by the way. And what failure started to mean was a couple of things. It started to mean not now and not yet. And we'll come back to that, what it means to have a growth mindset. So it just meant that this is just not the right time and the right fit for this. Nothing more, no judgment of you. That's all that it is. It started to mean this is how many times I'm putting myself out into the world. And this is how many times someone is holding my material and just taking a moment to be with something that I've created. Even if they've turned around and said, no, thank you, we've had enough submissions and you didn't make it, that was okay. I felt like me putting that energy out in the form of writing, typically, and then being held by somebody else had to count for something on some universal equation, and that was worth pursuing. And then to come back to this not yet comment, there are two different types of mindsets that we can have in relation to personal growth and development. One is called a fixed mindset and one is a growth mindset. The fixed mindset, very much how it sounds, is the perception that this is how I am and I won't be able to change. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at writing, so I should stop now. This is who I have been born as and who I've developed as, and I'm stuck this way. That is very limiting. A growth mindset is saying, I can get better at this. Oh, this is just the start. Oh, can you please give me some feedback so that you can help me improve on this journey as a writer, as a creator. And we can train ourselves to live in a growth mindset. I would say that I typically tend towards, and have in the past, a fixed mindset, and I'm working really hard to work towards a growth mindset. Even today, I got feedback from another freelance writing platform that I've been selected to be a part of on their top tier freelance platform, and they gave me feedback on just what I had written for my profile. It's just insignificant. It means nothing. And they told me what to do differently to improve it. And I was like, I'm horrible. I should stop now. I shouldn't be doing this. I mean, we are so hard on ourselves. Do you feel this way? I am so hard on myself. The smallest things will send me off into some hour-long monologue, inner dialogue, of why I should not be doing what I'm doing, what makes me happy, what fills my life with passion and purpose. I'm trying to contradict all the time that what I'm doing is what I'm actually supposed to be doing. Nobody told me I could write a book. Nobody gave me permission to do this. I had to give permission to myself. And so I'm constantly questioning that authority because I have this habit of questioning myself and looking to other people for affirmation of the fact that I'm worthy and I'm valuable and I have unique things to offer to the world. You might not be like that at all. Everybody's entirely different, but this is how I have related to failure. It has had such a huge weight in my life, and I really wanted to work on changing my relationship to it. Failing over 100 times, and it's continued since then in my failures, it really does help just to have quantity of failure. I'm obsessed with failure. When I look at a creative that I respect, whom I respect, I will obsessively go and look for their stories of failure because I want confirmation that I'm on the right path, that even though I am failing, that there are little things that are success, that are victories that I have to pinpoint and practice celebrating. Otherwise, I will completely be pulled down in the failure. What a fascinating topic. I don't want to keep this video going much longer, but let me know what your relationship to failure has been. Do you have any unique ways that you interact with failure? And try rewriting your story. Failure doesn't have to mean, the way that we've defined failure, doesn't have to mean that you are a failure. What is a different story you can create around it? Because ultimately, we are the ones in charge of creating not only the stories that we're telling through our creativity, a book, but we're in charge of telling what story we live. We can live a story of victimization. We can live a story of I'm a failure. I can live a story of I'm going to make myself as small as possible so that nobody sees me. Or I can live a story of give me feedback. Let me test this as many times as I can in these mini experiments of putting myself out into the world and seeing what feedback I get. Tell me what you think. It's going to fit for some people. It's not going to fit for other people, and that's okay. No harm, no foul. This is the mindset that I'm trying to step into as a creative, because otherwise I think failure is something that can bring us down, and I don't need to harden myself to it necessarily, but I can certainly change my relationship to make it more playful, to bring the stakes down, and to make it something that's actually fulfilling and life-giving as opposed to demeaning and life-draining. Failure, how fascinating. Let me know what you think. I'd be curious, and give it a try. See this as a full experiment. No one's told you definitively what failure has to mean to you. We don't always question the meaning of these terms that we're so familiar with. We know they have negative connotations and we just roll with it. What would it be like to change failure into a positive in your life? Cool, guys. I look forward to chatting with you tomorrow. I hope you're doing fantastic. This is so much fun for me. A great way for me to be able to connect with other creatives and share a bit of my heart and my soul. All right, friends, talk to you soon.